Sudan, and Egypt. Many years since then, all African countries claim to be independent, flags and national anthems. So we are here to remind ourselves that there is work to be done. Because when the Osage for Kwame Nkrumah spoke, there was a sense of urgency. No sooner had Ghana realized our independence in 1957 than he convened another meeting in 1958 here in Accra. The theme was one, a united and therefore borderless Africa. But nothing happened. 2 years later, Africans met again in Casablanca, Morocco. The theme once again was a united Africa. As if meetings were what we were about doing in 1963. 32 heads of states and government gathered in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. There were two groups. The Casablanca group, animated by a sense of urgency that Africa must unite, and the Monrovia group, crippled by lethargy, saying that we had to move slowly. If you listen to the speech of the Osage, a portion of which we have just listened to, there was a sense of urgency. He was almost desperate in reminding his audience that if they did not unite then the centrifugal forces would set in, and they did. And that is why even when we are gathered in assemblies such as this, without much thought, we call ourselves Anglophone, Lusophone, Francophone, Arabophone, and very soon Sinophone or Russophone. That is the stage in which we still are. Sababa, weak and disunited. I'm speaking to you at a time when the British still gather as our former colonies and our neo-colonial institution called the Commonwealth. And when our leaders go there, they sit in the meeting from beginning to end. The Friends still gather their and because we do not want to annoy them, we speak nicely about them. Nkrumah talking to you at a time when Africa is bleeding. There's war in Sudan. Nobody mentioned about it here. There is war in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Nobody mentioned it here. The Sahelian countries, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali are excluded from the activities of the African Union. Africa is not at ease. So even as we talk about a borderless Africa, we must talk about an Africa where there is peace. Because you can have all the free borders you have, but if there is no peace, where will you move? I remember, I believe it's in the year 2020, the African Union said that there was the silencing of the guns. The guns are with us again. So my fellow Africans, let us not be romantic about what several years ago, on the 40th day of the independence of Ghana, former president of Tanzania, Julius Kambarage Nyerere, was here. And he spoke. And he apologized. He said Nkrumah was right, we were wrong. He was right because he foresaw that if African countries became used to titles such as president and prime ministers and ministers, it would not be easy to unite the continent. But he reminded his audience on that day that when African leaders go out, or Africans go out of Africa, it is not their Ghanaian-ness or Rwandan-ness or Kenyan-ness that matters. It is their African-ness. He was reminding us that we need a continent that is borderless. He told us. So today, as we have this conversation, let us remind ourselves that this is not a new conversation. In 1980 in Lagos, Nigeria, under the Lagos Plan of Action, we promised ourselves that we would enhance intra-African trade, that goods from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia would move to Casablanca in Morocco, that we would have goods moving from South Africa to Maputo, and we said that we were going to achieve this through the regional economic communities such as ECOWAS, SADC, COMESA, the Maghreb, the East African Community, the IGAD. But if you go on the ground, the reality is very different. Aliko Dangote, whose image is displayed outside of this auditorium, famously said that he needs more visas to travel across an African continent than an American blogger who has the passport of the United States of America. That is the reality of our continent. It is the reality of our continent. So that as we talk about doing business with ourselves, African heads of state run to the Oval Office in the United States of America to sign AGOA, to sign off their health arrangement, to sign off with the European Union, and to play the gooseberry in Davos. That is where we are. So today we have come here to dramatize our anger. We have come here to dramatize our sense of urgency. My good sister, Nkosazana Lamini Zuma, who served as the chair of the AUC from the year 2012 to 2017, during which period the Africa Agenda 2063 was incubated. I remember the fictional letter that you wrote from the future. Your letter to Kwame Nkrumah dated the 24th day of January, the year 2063, in which you are telling the Osagefo that Africa has grown, that Africa has changed, that the promises we made to ourselves have been fulfilled, that we have electricity, that we have roads, that we can now produce what we consume and consume what we produce. It is 37 years away. The question is, will you release that letter to the Osagefo? Will our promises come true? Will the young men and women who are present here be given the opportunity to serve? Will we enable them? We talk of the numbers, we talk about 1.4 billion, we talk about it as a youth dividend. But our young men and women are running away and dying in the Mediterranean because there are no opportunities. They are running away because we do not create an environment where they can invent and innovate. The question is, how are we going to change this? The answer is, we must rethink Africa. The answer is, we must make Africa different. We must make Africa work. We must have self-esteem. We must be able to understand that nobody is going to help us. But unfortunately, when I listen to the Osagefo, and I do many times, we got the crown without the jewels. The time is now to change the situation. The question is, are you ready? The question is, are we simply holding annual jamborees? Or we are serious this time around? The question is, will we hold yet another meeting and other meetings without action? That is the question that Africans are asking. The question is, are we going to do that which is in the best interest of the continent of Africa? The question is, are the countries prepared to make countries visa-free? Are we prepared to have one currency? Are we prepared to have one identity? Are we prepared to empower our young men and our women? Are we creating an environment where we can realize our potential? Are we prepared to embrace the dividends of the fourth and fifth industrial revolution? Are we prepared to embrace artificial intelligence? And are we making our own? Or we are relying on China and Russia and the United States of America and all the other countries? Are we not in danger of having yet another scramble for Africa? These are the questions that we ought to pose even as we celebrate what we desire to do. It is not easy. And those who think it is easy will be disappointed. This is a journey which is intergenerational. So the young men who are here, you are from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Are you ready for a borderless South Africa? You are from Ghana. Are you ready? You are from Nigeria. Are you ready? From Kenya. Are you ready? From Egypt. Are you ready? From Rwanda. Are you ready? From Tunisia. Are you ready? From Senegal. Are you ready? Are you ready? If you are ready, say you are ready. If you are ready, say you are ready. And we are ready because Africa must be great. This continent cannot continue to operate in the periphery. If this continent is to be liberated, it is going to be liberated by yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, on an occasion such as this, wisdom requires that we don't speak for too long. We only remind ourselves that there is work to be done, and that there is nobody who is going to do that work. It is us who are going to do that work. And I know many young Africans who are doing great work. I know those who are in the innovation space. I know those who are in the agriculture space. I know those who are in the mining space. I know the women who are in the fashion space. I know those who are in the education phase, like my friend Linus Okorie from Nigeria. And I know people like Nkosazana and Amini Zuma who never say die. Even when it looks like it is not going to happen, she never says die. Ladies and gentlemen, ours today is to take a solemn vow. So I ask us not just have 10 million signatures, but we have 15 million signatures. If not required to do what they must do, if Africa is to liberate ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great continent. This is a continent that we can make even greater. Let us say with the Osage for play your part. So let us say, it can be done. 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 It must be done. We must have a borderless Africa. Say no to visas. Say no to division. Say yes to unity. God bless you all.
The voice of Africa, Patrice Lumumba, one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Africa Borderless Campaign in 10, 9, 8,